K-m is a new tiny DSLR from Pentax, aimed squarely at the first-time DSLR user or family photographer, which I think is marketing speak for women. This camera has a 10 megapixel sensor and inbuilt image stabilization to help keep your shots nice and sharp. Let's take a closer look. So, the first thing you see is there's this nice silver line running around the top of the camera here, which I presume is their attempt to make it look kind of friendly. It's a little bit disappointing because some other manufacturers like Panasonic have made their small DSLRs colourful. Panasonic's G1 comes in red and blue and it's just quite cool. It would have been nice to see Pentax doing that with their K-m, so it's okay, not too much of a problem. According to the press release, you can operate this camera one-handed. So obviously all the buttons are over on the right here and you can mash them with your thumbs accordingly. I think it's probably true, although you wouldn't really operate it one-handedly. You'd also end up with slanty pictures because the camera's balanced a little bit funnily and you'd try and balance it out by doing this. It wouldn't really work very well. Another thing to say is that even though it has been engineered to be lighter, the lens and the body are actually quite weighty. You definitely know if you have this in your bag. It's not the lightest DSLR that I've held. So, the inside's a little bit more positive. The screen is lovely and bright, it's 2.7 inches, you can see all the things are labelled up very clearly, all the buttons are very obviously, it's very, very quick and easy to work your way around. On the top dial you've got all the modes you'd expect, plus a further 10 modes in scene mode, including my new favourite mode, museum mode, which is obviously very useful if you find yourself taking pictures inside a museum. Also, one of the very cool things about this camera is auto-picked, where the camera automatically says it's time to take a picture of. If I take a picture of the studio, like this, it goes, oh, you're taking a landscape picture, or kind of landscape picture, and it sets to landscape mode here. If I try and take a picture of my teacup, then it says, oh, you're taking a macro picture, and the little macro mode gets highlighted here. This is absolutely brilliant for beginners who just want to use the K-m as a point and shoot while they start out and get a bit more confident. You can also look at the different settings and start working out what's appropriate for different settings. Very, very good, very, very cool little function. One disappointing thing is there's no live view, which you'd probably expect to find on one of these smaller DSLRs that are aimed at the compact camera users trying to trade up to a DSLR. I don't think it's too much of a disaster because I'm not sure how much DSLR users actually use that feature, but it's surprising. You probably expect to see live view on a camera of this type. Another difference is that this camera takes AA batteries rather than a battery pack, which is pretty useful. If you find yourself out and about and you run out of charge, you can just nip into a shop and pick some up. Quite handy. It also takes SDHC cards up the top here. The very, very best thing about this camera though is this button right here, this question mark button. Basically, this is an in-camera camera manual, which means you can press this button and it tells you what the different buttons do. So, see here, press the button which you'd like to know, press say, this button here, and it says, oh, that's accessing the drive mode settings. It's absolute genius. I'd really like to see this function on some more beginner DSLRs. Very, very clever from Pentax, and it means, if you're out in the field and you don't know what a button does and you haven't got the manual with you, you don't have to stop shooting, you can just press that and find out. Very, very clever. So, and of course, as you get more confident, because it's a Pentax fit, you've got access to all the different Pentax lenses, which is great because there are loads of those and your photography will be fantastic. So, if you're a real beginner and you're looking for a DSLR with room to grow, then it might be worth you taking a look at the Pentax K-m. Plus, with the new cashback offer, you can get the K-m for just 370 quid and it's available now.